Hello, my name is Oratile Makhatla. I'm a lecturer in the Department of Industrial Design at the University of Johannesburg. So I've always had a curiosity into how things work and how they're made, and in researching what the actual science behind that was, I stumbled across industrial design, and that sort of led the way into me actually being a professional industrial designer and ultimately a design lecturer at the University of Johannesburg. For this next part, it's building onto the design process, and from ideation, the next step in the design process is 3D CAD modeling. What 3D CAD modeling is taking ideas from the 2D form that have been sketched and translating that into a 3D form where you're able to visualize scale and proportion of the item you're designing. For 3D modeling in our department, we normally use different types of software. The most common one that we use is SolidWorks, and we have experimented with open source software as well, such as Autodesk Fusion 360. When using the software to create 3D models, there's different steps that students are taught to go through. So this begins with individual features in the program and leads on to more complex modeling. With the 3D CAD model, you're also able to create a set of engineering drawings and also digital content that you can send to either your marketing team or to industry to produce the final prototype for you. Another important part of 3D CAD modeling is being able to communicate with industry in terms of the people that will be creating the final product for you on a manufacturing level. For us in the department, files created from 3D models also feed into other prototyping steps, such as 3D printing and laser cutting. With the set of engineering drawings that you create that are sent to industry, this specifies the materials used, the finish of the product, and also the manufacturing process specified for the actual product. For creating digital content, we have to create what is called 3D renders from the 3D model, and that is creating photorealistic representations of what your model will look like in the real world. This is very important in selling your product to marketers and also communicating what the actual final visuals of your product will be. With photorealistic renders, it's quite important to make sure that the actual product materials used in the render replicate what you would want to create your final item out of in the real world. From 3D printing to laser cutting, there's a lot of digital fabrication processes available in the department. As mentioned earlier, 3D CAD modeling feeds into some of these prototyping processes, and the first one that we're going to talk about is laser cutting. Laser cutting is taking a 2D file format and turning it into one that can be read by a laser cutter. The laser cutter then uses a laser to cut through material, normally wood, card, and perspex, to create 2D panels that can be further assembled to create a fully three-dimensional item. This helicopter is an example of a prototype that's been created using laser cutting. The material used for this is cardstock, and the file for this was prepared in SolidWorks, exported out as a DXF, and then sent to one of our laser cutters, which was then used to cut the 2D panels. In our Fab Lab, we also have 3D printers. 3D printing is a big manufacturing or prototyping process, and it's now open for our students through our fabrication labs. What 3D printing is taking a 3D model, breaking down into its individual layers, and the 3D printer then builds it up layer by layer, normally out of solid plastic. And there's an example of a 3D printed item. The nice thing about 3D printing is that you're able to achieve much more complex organic forms that you wouldn't necessarily achieve with other prototyping processes, such as laser cutting. The difference between all of the different manufacturing processes that we have, the digital ones, is the machines used, the time consumed in terms of the process, and also the cost of running those machines and acquiring those materials.